This microcredential addresses concrete uses in agriculture and consists of 5 targeted skills. This targeted skill provides information about calculating the cost of concrete. Concrete is a relatively low-cost building material, but it can sometimes be difficult to calculate an exact cost for a concrete project. Most large projects will be delivered by a ready-mix concrete company that will price the concrete by the cubic yard. Calculating the cost for a concrete pour will basically become a volume calculation that needs to be converted to cubic yards. One common way to calculate the volume of concrete is to convert all measurements to cubic feet and then convert that measurement to cubic yards. Understand that there are 27 cubic feet in a cubic yard. For example, a concrete slab is 10 feet 4 inches wide by 30 feet long. To calculate the volume, the thickness or depth of the concrete pour must also be known. In this example, the concrete is 6 inches thick, or half of a foot. First, convert all measurements to decimal feet. To convert 10 feet 4 inches to decimal feet, simply divide the 4 inches by 12 to get 0.33 feet. Add it to 10 feet so that the answer is 10.33 feet for the width. The other dimension that needs to be converted is the 6-inch depth of the pour. Divide 6 inches by 12 inches in 1 foot to get 0.5 feet of thickness. With these dimensions now in decimal feet, simply multiply them. First, take the width, 10.33 feet, and multiply it times the length, 30 feet, which equals 309.9 square feet. Next, multiply the thickness of the slab, 0.5 feet, times 309.9, and your answer will be 154.95 cubic feet. To convert 154.95 cubic feet into cubic yards, remember that there are 27 cubic feet in a cubic yard of concrete. To get the final calculation, divide 154.95 by 27 to get an answer of 5.74 cubic yards of concrete needed for this slab. For a second example, calculate how much concrete would be needed to complete a concrete pad in front of a shed that is 40 feet wide, 15 feet long, and 5 inches deep. Convert all measurements into decimal feet. The depth is the only measurement that is not in feet, so divide 5 inches by 12 inches in 1 foot to come up with 0.4167 feet. To find the volume, first multiply the width of 40 feet by the length of 15 feet to get an answer of 600 square feet. Then multiply 600 square feet by the depth or thickness of the pour, 0.4167. That equals 250.02 cubic feet. This value is again divided by 27 cubic feet to obtain a final answer of 9.26 cubic yards of concrete, which will be needed for this project. To determine the cost of this concrete, multiply the cubic yards by the cost per yard. Assume that the average cost of concrete is $125 per yard. Multiplying 9.26 cubic yards times $125 per yard gives us a cost of $1,157.50 for the concrete from the ready-mix truck. For one last sample problem, how much would it cost to pour a concrete sidewalk that is 2 feet 6 inches wide by 150 feet long and 3 inches thick? Assuming the cost for concrete was again $125 per yard. Convert all surface measurements to decimal feet first. So the width becomes 2.5 feet, and it gets multiplied by the length, 150 feet, to give us 375 square feet. The 3 inches of depth divided by 12 equals 0.25, and multiplied by 375 gives us an answer of 93.75 cubic feet. Divide this by 27 cubic feet to get an answer of 3.47 cubic yards of concrete. Multiplying 3.47 cubic yards times $125 per yard gives us a total cost of $433.75. One thing to remember about calculating the total cost of concrete is that though the concrete may make up the majority of the cost, there are other costs. These include costs for labor in preparing the site, materials needed to build the forms, rebar or reinforcing mesh, and the cost of labor to place and finish the concrete. All concrete cost calculations are volume calculations and involve lots of geometry. Calculating the cost for walls, round tanks, foundations, and other structures requires an understanding of volume calculations and how shapes work together to provide a final volume. Once these are understood, the cost of concrete can be calculated with relative ease.